What's up, I'm Joe. Recently I took a really long break from making videos, but when I started making videos, I decided I was never going to make a video about apologizing for not making videos because I felt like that was kind of oxymoronic and also kind of regular moronic. For a while I felt bad about not making videos very often because I had been making them pretty regularly, and then suddenly I just stopped. I started doing other things and I told myself I didn't have time to keep making videos, which is a dumb excuse. And in fact, I don't have time is kind of a pathetic excuse for anything at any time because you have exactly the same amount of time as anybody else. So it's kind of nonsensical to say I don't have time. In your life, you really have enough time to do like almost all of the things you want to do. There's always going to be other stuff that's worth doing, but most of the time when we tell people we don't have time, it means that we just don't care about that particular thing enough to spend our time doing it. In the same way, I think it's silly when people say like, oh, I want to, but I don't have time. Like, oh, I really want to do that, but I can't because I have this other reason. No, if you wanted to do it, you would do it. Like if somebody tells you about this great movie they want you to watch and they're like, dude, you have to go see this movie. And then they come to you like 3 weeks later and they say, hey, have you seen that movie that I told you about yet? And you're like, oh man, I didn't have time. I'm sorry. There's no way that's true. There's just no way in this day and age that you don't have time to watch a movie, and there's no way you don't have access to that. Between like Netflix and Amazon Plus and like the drones that bring you things now. Those of you who are watching this on an iPad could like switch to that movie right now if you wanted to, but don't. Stay here, I like you. In that 3-week span, you probably had dozens of chances to take an hour and a half or 2 hours and like sit down and watch this movie that this other person recommended to you, but you just didn't care enough to do it. And that's the ugly little truth that we all feel like we're hiding when we say like, oh, I didn't have time. It's not that you didn't have time, it's that you didn't care. And that's okay. Can we all just have it be okay to say like, hey, look, I don't want to do that. But it feels weird to us to tell other people like, hey, I don't care about the things you care about. My priorities are different. So we like pretend that there are these extenuating circumstances outside of our control that are preventing us, no matter how desperately we've tried to watch this movie. There's just no time. Like time contracted, and all I've been able to do is poop and go to work. That's basically it. I spend a long time pooping. The fact is, it's okay to have your priorities be different than someone else's, especially if it's got to do with other people like telling you what to do. The other side of that coin though is that you have to learn not to be offended if somebody tells you like, hey, I don't think I'll go do that. Because even though we all have a ton of time, everything demands our time all the time, and you have to budget that out. So I am coming back to YouTube and I'm making videos again, and I'm really excited about that. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to invest in watching my videos, because I think that's awesome and I really like the videos that I make, which is why I make them, and I'm glad you guys do too. So 50 XP for watching. Peace and love.